Alright everyone, we start off today with one heck of a doozy actually, another Twitter files release. Matt Taibbi, of course, putting this one out. Link in the description, you can go through the entire Twitter thread yourself. I'm going to read some of it verbatim, but I'm also going to give you the too long didn't read version here. I'll have to read some of this verbatim, so I won't be looking at my camera here in a minute. The basic gist is this. Have you ever heard of Hamilton 68? It's an initiative, a dashboard, literally, that was created by a plethora of neocon and neoliberal individuals. Bill Kristol, actually, on that list, which is quite damning. I wonder if he'll face any particular social repercussions for this, along with Podesta, John Podesta, joining forces with Bill Kristol. And the idea was to track Russian disinformation. The problem is that the list of people that they compiled using this dashboard, by and large, are not even remotely connected to Russia. Some of the names are listed in the thread itself. It'd be interesting to see the whole list. The other part of it is more damning, which is that the people that were administering the dashboard refused to actually give the list to the people at Twitter or to divulge it publicly. The people working at Twitter, and this is pre-Elon, to give you an indicator of how damning this was, they were so perturbed and antagonized by this that even the people running Twitter, woke as they are, problematic as they are, including Yoel Roth himself, even they decided at the end, enough is enough, we're going to have to go in, we're going to look at the querying of Twitter data, and we'll be able to compile a list based on the known accounts of people associated with the dashboard by simply looking through the records on Twitter, and we'll be able to compile their list. And then they threatened to release it actually, but then internally they're like, well, it is going after ASG here could be dangerous. It could be a problem for the company. So, we have to be careful about how we approach this. Of course, now we've got presumptively the list itself. I'm going to read some of this verbatim. Some of the responses are off the chain, too. First, it starts off with some quotes by Twitter execs. They're a little out of order. Here's what I would suggest. The slow drip of Twitter files releases has been good because it forces a response by people who support censorship or involved in it. The FBI responding around Twitter batch 7, I think it was. Now is the time to release more material, just lump sum. The problem is that this material is no longer making it to even like the legacy media that's bothering to report on it. They're ignoring it. And so Hamilton 68 wasn't even, to my knowledge, trending when this was initially posted on the 27th. These are quotes by Twitter execs about Hamilton 68, a digital dashboard that claimed to track Russian influence and was the source of hundreds, if not thousands, of mainstream print and TV news stories in the Trump years. The dashboard was headed by former FBI counter-intel official and current MSNBC contributor Clint Watts and funded by a neoliberal think tank, the Alliance for Securing Democracy. The ASD Advisory Council includes neoconservative writer Bill Kristol, former ambassador to Russia Michael McFaul, ex-Hillary for America chief John Podesta, and former heads or deputy heads of the CIA, NSA, and Department of Homeland Security. Total random sampling of people. They're not part of the same uniparty cabal or anything like that. When Bill Kristol is working alongside John Podesta, the writing is kind of on the wall. News outlets for years cited Watts and Hamilton 68 when claiming Russian bots were amplifying an endless parade of social media causes against strikes in Syria, in support of Fox host Laura Ingraham, the campaigns of both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders. Again, the uniparty does not like the progressive left. They see them as useful idiots to elect Democrats, and then you've promised them 10 things and you give them half of one, and you hope that they'll shut up after the election. This is what the Republicans have been doing, by the way, too, to the MAGA crowd. They've been trying to use them as pawns. It's not going over so well at the moment, although they have managed to maintain Ronna McDaniel, who is literally a relative of Mitt Romney, as the RNC chair. Kevin McCarthy in a slightly neutered form, although I noticed that damage didn't trickle down to Mitch McConnell, cocaine turtle man. The secret ingredient to Hamilton 68's analytical method? A list. So they're building lists of users now. Again, you should probably be more troubled than you are. Our analysis has linked 600 Twitter accounts to Russian influence activities online, was how the site put it at launch. The problem, if you go down further, is that other than a couple of RT handles, none of the other users are from or in Russia. They have nothing to do with Russia. The fact is that what this does is it insinuates that if you're promoting something that would be conceived of as loosely pro-Russia or has been labeled pro-Russia, how Donald Trump or even Bernie Sanders' campaign would fall under that header, of course, remains to be seen. Trump seemed to be doing a better job of constraining Putin's actions than Biden now, didn't he? If you look at the list of people, all that happened is that these people happened to be participating in a public conversation and be on one particular ideological side that was conceived of as pro-Russia. So this is basically a list of dissidents that are all basically based in the Western world. And even Yoel Roth, who is out at Twitter, pro-censorship, very problematic individual, has some apparent weird beliefs. Even he was raising concerns about this, simply with the cautionary that, hey, if we're going to go up against the ASG and the Hamilton 68 people, you know, you've got Podesta, you've got Bill Kristol, etc., you've got big-time names. We have to be careful because otherwise, what do you face boycotts. That's basically what happened. And you can look through some of the responses anyway. That's enough of the verbatim retelling there. This is highly concerning. My problem at this point with the Twitter files is that the slow drip thing has worn off. The usefulness of the slow drip method is no longer there. What needs to happen, and Musk needs to get on this along with the others there, compile all of the material, don't bother parsing through it, now release it all together. You've done for weeks the slow drip damage, it's begun to wear off. People are no longer paying as much attention to it. If you release 40,000 pages of internal documents on the same day, maybe do it through WikiLeaks, that'd be awfully funny mashup now, wouldn't it? Then people can go through it at their leisure. 4chan will take care of it. Certain people on Reddit, although many of them have been purged if they support free speech, they'll handle it. Give everyone access now to this information. Taibbi and the others that have been releasing this have done a great job so far. The material is damning. Arguably, the Hamilton 68 thing here is the most damning release that we've had, other than the one that details specifically FBI and even possibly CIA involvement in Twitter censorship. This is at least the second most damning of all of the batches. But I'm not seeing as many people talking about it. Huge amount of interaction, but it's staying more on Twitter. And the hope is that it makes it at least to the edge of the missing link media, and they talk about it, but this release is from 2 days ago. And I'm not really seeing anything. And you dropped it on a Friday, so, you know, the news cycle slows down on the weekends, so it wasn't necessarily the greatest time to drop it. It would have been better on maybe a Thursday evening or something like that. At this point, again, the Twitter files should be released verbatim, and they should be released entirely. The slow drip was helpful. As I pointed out weeks ago, that was the right way to go. Now it's time to switch gears. Now dump everything on everyone and let everyone have a free-for-all, because then it'll be a lot easier to go through the material when you've got tens of thousands of people doing it, as opposed to giving access to a few journos on Twitter who then have to disseminate it. Because clearly, when you've got John Podesta and Bill Kristol working together with their finger on the scale of public conversation, they're going to try to blunt such releases now, aren't they? I know I would if I were implicated in such a thing. Of course, when power is there, power tends to be misused for egotistical, self-serving purposes. It's exactly what they've been doing. It's exactly what the legacy media apparently did too, because their articles were entirely based on fabrication. Now we know that. I would think that that's definitely newsworthy. That's about all. Peace out.